Hey guys, in this video we're going to respond to some viewer questions, and this version is the DBXL-E 2.0 and the tires that we have. Now we have 4 different sets of tires here, and these are the selections that we choose to run on the car. In this video we're going to go over what we've run, why we run what we run, and the differences between them. I hope this helps a lot. Check this out. So first, let's go over the stock tires, and this is what comes with the car, and it is a genuine beadlock wheel and tire. It's a pretty good system, but it does weigh up a little bit. The stock ones run about 1 pound 7.2 ounces per tire, which is a pretty decent weight actually when you think about it. There's a lot of girth in these things, but they do have a good all-around tread to them. We'll get you a close-up of this, but it's got a real nice truck pattern on it. It handles in really good situations. Anything where you get some sort of slide, these are rounded a little bit, so they do travel well, like on track surfaces and stuff. These work pretty good for that kind of thing. They also work well on pavement. And they're a pretty narrow tire when you take a good look at it. And this is the stock ones, and I really do like these. I haven't had a failure in one of these. We've gotten some cracking in the wheels, but we have yet. This is really a pretty thick grouping of plastic up in here, and we haven't had one actually fail. These little hairline cracks that come in these things, they don't seem to be detrimental to function, and we haven't broken one yet. However, we do jump these pretty good, and we do run them in some pretty tough terrain, but we never skate park these kind of vehicles, and I'm pretty sure landing on solid concrete repeatedly would actually end one of these. So these we don't usually do that kind of thing with, but the performance on these is really good, and the car's balanced to get a fairly decent runtime out of it. It doesn't run super long because it is an 8S car. But it does get a pretty decent runtime on it considering the weight of the vehicle and the size of the batteries that we run. However, depending on the terrain you want to run in, you may want to move away from the stock tires and wheels because they do have kind of a limited traction quotient, and that's when we found these. Now, we got online and did a little searching, and I found these on eBay, and these are MT tires, and we had to wait quite a while to get these. These come out of China, but they are basically the same size, and they have a much better tread pattern in them. Take a look at that. So it's got a lot of grips into it. There's a problem with these though, and it can be a problem if you're running in nature or places that you don't want to destroy. These, with the weight of the vehicle, have a tendency to really dig, and they leave traction marks. And what I mean is, they will leave ruts behind the car when you accelerate really quickly, and it can destroy the nature area. So this is something you might want to look away from if you're going to go run in an area where you can't destroy the terrain. If you're on track or open dirt or things of that nature, these are fine and they work really well. However, these MTs weigh in at 1 pound 5.7 ounces, so they are actually just a shade lighter than the stock ones, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, these have a much higher traction quotient, so you do have more of a tendency to pitch in the corners because these do get a lot more traction. And they were relatively expensive, but at the same time, depending on what you want to do with the vehicle, this may be the way to go. We also, on all of these tires except the set in the center, which is the Creighton 8S tires and wheels, we had to vent all of these because they do get out of balance. And I've seen people just tape off the inside, and of course on this one, you can see the tape in here. Now, if you just tape off the inside with a tire this size, especially when you get into the wider ones, and we'll get into that in a second, but when you just tape off the inside, as the tire grows, it creates a vacuum inside the tire because there's nowhere for the air to get in. Now, that can disform the whole tire in a weird way that can cause you stability at high speeds. Now, it's always a good idea to have venting somewhere. We like to vent the outside on these in 3 locations, and that way the air can get in. But if you get any debris in there, as it spins, it'll discharge that. So just taping off the inside, if you're using really small tires, it's not all that noticeable. So you could probably get away with it with that. But I've seen these completely deform and change shape, and your car will get out of control, and at really high speeds that can be detrimental to not just your car but your wallet too. So just a little note there. always have some sort of venting into your tires, especially if they're bigger tires like this. Now these dirt tires here, I really enjoy these. They really are fun to play with, and they handle really good in, say, open pasture and things of that nature. They do really good in that form. However, let's move on to the next ones. As you can see on the car, these take up a lot more area, and these are the Copperhead 2s from the Creighton 8S, and it is a much bigger tire. Check that out. However, the odd thing is this is lighter than the other two by quite a bit, and these weigh in at 1 pound 4.4 ounces, which is even lighter than these and even lighter than the MTs. So far this is the lightest. It has more mass, more width to it, so it's not as detrimental to the area around. You can skitter over stuff, you can spin the tires, and it doesn't dig nearly as bad as those narrow ones. And since they're lighter, the run time's better with these as well. These handle really good on track surface, out in nature. Generally, this is an awesome tire and wheel for this setup, and I really enjoy running these. We run them quite a bit, and they're a good tire and wheel, especially for the cost. If you get it on eBay, you can probably find them for a pretty low cost compared to going out and buy new ones. Now, you got to watch out when you buy from vendors on eBay, because some people are out to scalp you, but that's not always the case. Still, I really like these wheels and tires, and they perform awesome on this car, giving you the best runtime out of any of the tires here. So let's follow that up with the big guys, and these are the ProLine trenchers, and these are great big tires and wheels. These things weigh in at a whopping 2 pounds, 2.3 ounces each. And that's a lot of weight. These things have a serious heft to them, and you can definitely see the difference in size, which changes the gearing. Plus, the extra weight really heats the motor up. It slows down the runtime some, but if you gear it down a little bit, these things are an utter blast. However, they are pretty soft. Look how easy that deforms in your hand, which means these grow a lot. They get really big, and they also give you a lot more control in the air when you throttle up because of this mass that's here. It makes it a real jumpy truck. It makes it more like an Outcast as far as how it handles in the air, and it does require a modification to the car. In order to run these, you definitely need to get inside here, and you need to change the fluids in that center differential. Now, we changed ours to 500K, and that made a really big difference, because instead of just ballooning the front tires, it made it more controllable all the way around. And I've had people comment that they want to lock their center differential up, but keep in mind, guys, that we're talking a lot of weight here, 8+ pounds in just the tires, and all that mass spinning through all these metal components. If you lock this down and land on the front, it shocks this entire system, and it's really hard on the components. You can break drive cups, you can break drive axles. All that comes from locking that center differential down, because it won't allow it to transfer the energy through to the rear. Still, with the bigger tires and wheels, you definitely want to be off the throttle when you hit the ground, because it is so much power that it can definitely cause breakage within the car. These ones, on the other hand, not quite so much. These don't grow all that much. They do grow a little bit, but not all that much. And when they hit the ground, the traction difference between this tire and this tire is enormous. This can skid and slide a lot easier than this will, which will transfer all that energy directly into the components of the car. So it's something you want to think about. Do I like these trenchers? Absolutely. In the right situation, these things are an utter blast. And when you get these on the car, here, check this out. When you get them on the car, it looks fantastic, and everybody comes over to have a look, because that's not something you see every day. But when those tires grow up, it really is impressive to see. So that begs the question, which ones do I like the best out of the grouping? Well, you know, each one has its situation. If I'm going to do any kind of pavement or just running on gravel and stuff, I think I'd go with the stock ones for that. They do handle really well in that application. However, overall, the winner for me is the tires from the Creighton 8S, the Copperhead 2s. These are really good. They're light, they handle well, it jumps good with these on it, and you get a pretty decent run time with them. So out of this 4 This is my best overall set here. However, in pasture situations, in places where I can really get after it, I like these diggers. These are really good. They're really aggressive. I really dig these ones. They're pretty cool. But when you want to show off and you want to get out there and get up on the ramp and make things do cool stuff like double backflips and whatnot, nothing beats the trenchers. The trenchers have enough mass to really pull it off, but you're going to want some pretty good sized batteries to go with it, and keep an eye on your temperatures. Don't forget to gear it down for these, because these are so much bigger that with the extra weight and the larger mass of the tire, it's going to pull a lot more amps through the motor, and it's going to cause a bit of an issue. So make sure that you change your gearing for these ones. These are lighter, being the Copperheads, and since they're lighter, they're slightly bigger in diameter. They are a little wider. They do pull a little bit more in that aspect, but they're lighter, so they don't draw as much amps on startup. So these actually work the best out of everything. So each one has its place depending on what you want to do with the car. And I'd have to say I probably got the best deal on the Copperheads. The 8S platform from Arrma is a really good platform, and there are parts everywhere. Those tires are pretty easy to get a hold of right now, so they are a really good application for this particular car. Of course, with the 24mm hubs, most of the 8S stuff will fit it, and it is a really durable car. I really enjoy the DBXL-E, and hopefully we'll have some more running footage for you upcoming. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. It's awesome when you do, and we really enjoy this kind of thing because you ask the questions and we try to come up with the answers here. We only have these 4 sets. If you guys have other tires and wheels on your DBXL-E that you really enjoy or you hate, please feel free to leave it in the comments down below and help others along the way. Hey guys, I'm AJ with AJ Jam Studios saying, keep bashing, guys.